Hello and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for October 4th, 2022. My name is Gary Smith and I'm joined, as always, on this beautiful Tuesday morning by California's head football coach, Gary Dunn. And Coach, another fantastic weekend for the Vulcans this Saturday. You guys traveled up to CLARION on their homecoming and we're sitting here smiling on 4 days later.
Yeah, good weekend. I thought the guys handled the trip really well. I don't know that we started as well as we wanted to coming out of the locker room, but give CLARION credit. They had a good plan and made some plays early, and was proud of the way our guys responded. There was a situation or a deal there in the first quarter where they had all the momentum and our guys responded and we made some plays and then kind of got rolling throughout the afternoon. But give CLARION credit because they came out and jumped on us early.
And going back just a little bit before the start of the game, I wanted to ask the question, was their homecoming this week or this past weekend? Is that any difficult, any change in the game plan, just knowing that they're going to be a little bit more ramped up any time you play someone at the homecoming?
All that homecoming stuff's before the kickoff. Once the kickoff, it's a normal game. So our guys really don't feel it, and as coaches we don't either. But, obviously CLARION came out ready to play and scored first and took an early lead.
They said they scored first. It was 7-0, and then I'm going to borrow a phrase from the Sweet Science of Boxing. Your team started having punches and bunches, and even though you only held the ball for about 9 minutes in the first half, 35 points, it was just quick, and it was awesome to watch as a California fan just to see your team, offense, defense, special teams after that first quarter, just basically like a freight train rolling down the hill.
Yeah, really weird first quarter. I think we only ran 8 plays in the first quarter. We got to a 3rd and 1 and didn't get it and had to punt it. We had a bad punt at that situation. But at halftime, we had only ran 23 plays offensively. Now, give our defense credit. They created some turnovers. They blocked a punt, but we never felt like we could get into a flow offensively because we only ran 23 plays in the first half. We felt like our plan was right, and in the second half, I thought we played better. I challenged the team to. The score 0-0 at halftime, we've got to come out of the locker room ready to play. And I thought we did that. I think the first series of the second half, we went down and got a field goal, which anytime we could put points on the board, we're happy with it. And just kind of a weird game. We blocked a couple punts, and unfortunately for CLARION, I think their long snapper was hurt, and they had a backup long snapper in there. And anytime your operations change that much, it's tough to overcome that. But our guys did a good job. The late block punt we had, we were in punt safe, and our kids, we teach our kids to turn the scoreboard off, and we're really not worried about the score. Every play that we're out there, we're going to play extremely hard. Funny, Gabe Miller comes off the edge, going full speed, blocks a punt right to his little brother, who picks it up and runs it for a touchdown. So, no, that was a great deal, a great memory they'll have for their family for a long time.
Yeah, when our announcer said the names, like, wait, that might be history, because who knows if that's ever happened here before. Yeah. But like you said, the special teams and the defense, you had 2 interceptions. One went back for a pick six. One went back to the 3-yard line. One punt block had you guys set up inside or near the red zone. The other one you went for the touchdown. And then you referenced coming out of the locker room, and it was nice to see because you see it every week. Team with a big lead comes out, maybe let down a little bit, but your foot was firmly down on the accelerator.
Yeah, I challenged our guys. You got to be able to come out of the locker room and really, in football, a big thing is that last possession before the first half and the first possession of the second half. So I challenged the guys. We got to come out ready to play because I didn't know that we necessarily did that in the first quarter, and they responded and did a great job. And defense, kind of kept their foot on the gas a little bit. But the great thing was we were able to play a lot of young guys. We got a lot of guys reps the whole maybe midway through the third quarter. And then all of the fourth quarter. So that's going to pay off for us. We got a lot of guys' experience. I was happy with our offense. When the defense sets you up or special teams sets you up in the red zone, you've got to take advantage of it. And we did each time we were down there. So that was a bright side for the offense, especially in the first half. When you get a turnover down there, you got to cash those into touchdowns, and we were able to do that.
When I was a coaching staff, I know obviously the way the first half went, you said only ran 23 plays, but a lot of that's because you were inside the 20-yard line. As a coaching staff, would you like to have 1 or 2 drives a little longer, just even if they don't turn out for points?
No, I'd love to start inside the 10-yard line every drive.
Okay.
Field possession's a big thing. We talked to our kickoff team this week. Coach Craig, Jacob Craig's doing a great job with our special teams, and one of the stats that he shared with the team this past week was when the offense starts inside the 25-yard line, the negative 25, they haven't scored on us. So, obviously field position is a huge deal, and I thought our kickoff team did a really good job. They've got some dangerous returners. They were averaging, really good field position, and I thought our kickoff team, improved from the Edinburgh game and really set our defense up for them to have to drive long fields. And then when you give our offense short fields, we've got to take advantage of those. And I thought our red zone plan was good. I think Jaquay Jackson ended up having 3 touchdowns, 2 receiving and 1 rushing. So we got to continue to develop down in the red zone.
I know it was about a minute left in the first quarter or the first half, and I just happened to look to the right, and I'm like, I haven't seen this side of the field in a while, because all the action was down to the scoreboard end of the field. But you mentioned Jaquay Jackson had another fantastic afternoon, 7 receptions, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns. But, I mean, your offense spread the ball out to about 9 different receivers. Noah Mitchell, once again, 15 for 20, very efficient, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. And second half just threw a bomb down the right sideline for a touchdown.
Yeah, they were playing, coverage in single and Jaquay up, and we feel great about any matchup there. But, I think some of our other guys are going to continue to grow and develop, and continue to come along. We've got to have other receivers making plays, and we did Saturday, and that's the big thing. We got to be able to distribute the ball evenly and make them defend all the eligibles. I thought our running game was good for the most part. We didn't have a ton of carries. We ran 3 running backs, and I got to give those guys credit. They're being really unselfish right now. We feel like we've got 3 good running backs, and we're able to keep guys fresh. You don't want a guy. I'm sure they all want 20 to 30 carries a game, but they're all fresh. Malik was banged up with an injury earlier in the year, and he's healthy now. Eric McCann is doing a really good job. And then Devontae, every time he gets in, he's making some runs. So, we're going to continue to rotate those guys, and whoever has the hot hand, we'll go with them.
He has a team 29 carries, 119 yards, 3 touchdowns. But it's a little misleading because, as we talked about, for the first half of the game, or the second quarter, first half of the game, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Second quarter, you had great field position, so there wasn't a lot of yardage to be gained. And on the defensive side, once again, your defense was in the backfield all day. A lot of guys, multiple tackles. Matt Tobey, Noah Dilla, once again, 2 picks. Tayon Lobin had 8 tackles, but you had guys in the backfield all day, which, as we talked about last week, that's tough to do on that offense because that's such a different offense than everybody else in the league plays.
Yeah, they do a nice job offensively of a lot of jet sweeps, and they'll hand it to anybody. The quarterback ran typically more the weeks before than they did against us. But whether you're defending the tailback, the wide receiver on the jet, the H-back on the shuffle pass, it's hard to defend that. I thought our defensive line played well and kind of controlled the line of scrimmage. And then Matt Tobey and Dillo both with interceptions. And I think what we teach our guys is you work hard and you play hard and opportunities come to you. And both of those were plays where those guys were in the right spot and the opportunity came for them to make a play. Noah made a nice play and got underneath the route there, and then Tobey in the backfield. And Tobey plays as hard as anybody. So to see him be able to make a play, and I thought Gerald Brown intercepted it, and one of the coaches up in the box said, he pitched it to Tobey. So I pulled Gerald aside. We don't pitch interceptions. We keep interceptions and we run. He said, Coach, I didn't have it. I didn't pitch it. I didn't catch it. But he kind of tipped it to Tobey, and that was a good play for us.
Yeah, I think because we had the same conversation in the box. I think he just took it out of the hands and was like, this is my ball. And I went back to back. But again, interception-wise and punt block-wise, it's always great to see that your team turn around and get ready to block, and it's just well coached.
Yeah, well, John Hutchinson blocked the first punt, and he's another guy. He's really a hard worker. He wins every one of our sprints, and it's fun to watch him, Tobey, and Dillo compete at practice when we're conditioning. So I was glad to see him, to be able to make a play and get rewarded for his effort. He's going to continue to play more and more for us on defense, and he's doing a nice job.
It was a great splash play, and let's take a look at a bunch of splash plays from this past Saturday's action up at Clarion, California, getting the win on the road. And after the break, we'll be back to talk about this upcoming week's opponent, the IUP Crimson Hawks. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Mitchell rolling to his right, trying to find the receiver in the end zone. Touchdown, Vulcans. Jaquay Jackson on the reception. Well done, roll to his left, looking for. He's going to get picked off by Dillo. Dillo working his way down the field. It's going to be like last week. Dillo going to be brought down just shy. He's going to fake the handoff, pitch it over to Jackson. Jackson strides on in, untouched in the end zone for the touchdown. And the Vulcans able to block it. Number 31 for the Vulcans able to block it. With the fast huddle, is going to hand it off to McCann. McCann untouched into the end zone for the Vulcan touchdown. And the shotgun. Fire toward the end zone, touchdown. Who else but Jaquade Jackson once again for the Vulcans. 3 touchdowns. Snap, Biko's kick is up, and Biko's kick is good. Mitchell gets the snap, looking to fire deep down the field, has Jaquade Jackson wide open. Jackson catches it at the 25, and Jaquade Jackson is gone for the Vulcan touchdown. Esposito's punt gets blocked once again, and here comes Gabe Miller. Miller is going to go untouched into the end zone. Touchdown Vulcans. Hurt gets the high snap, able to bring it down, hands it off to Williams. Williams able to break this one out to the outside, gets it blocked by Harper. Williams going to go untouched into the end zone. Touchdown Vulcans.
More attractions. More fear. Survive the clowns in Twisted Nightmare 3D. Experience more scares than ever before. Haunted Hills Estate Scream Park returns September 9th. Get your tickets now at hauntedhillsestate.com.
Steps back in the pocket, firing, and it is brought in, hauled in by Tarrant. Dropping back, Woodbury firing down the middle, and it's caught by Keyshaw Carter, and the Crimson Hawks strike back. Quick pass, again to the same target, and this time he doesn't miss, as that's Irvin Charles bringing it in for the Crimson Hawk touchdown. Mitchell takes the snap, steps up in the pocket, firing deep for Derek Lockhart, and he brings it in for the Cal U touchdown. Derek Lockhart. Hurt, airing it out to the back of the end zone. It's caught. It is caught. Cal U gets a touchdown, and who else is it other than Cam Tarrant? Mitchell, flag is thrown deep in the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Cal U. It's Derek Lockhart. And they are going to punt this one away. It was blocked by Cal U. It was picked up immediately. And what a play by Cal U as they blocked the punt.
That's number 28.
Jacob Siegel. The snap. Mitchell to Hill. And it's caught.
Touchdown!
It's caught. Tyson Hill. Tyson Hill brings it in for the Cal U touchdown. And the Falcons are losing it on the sidelines. What a quiet IUP crowd as Tyson Hill brings in the touchdown. Woodbury back in the pocket, firing deep downfield, 2-1. It's intercepted. It's intercepted by Jamal Jr. Jamal Martin Jr. He's taking it in IUP territory. He's still going, and he's finally brought down. And your winners at the 12th annual Coal Bowl are the Cal U Vulcans, and they storm Miller Field.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. Once again, I'm Gary Smith along with Coach Dunn, and we looked at this past weekend's action against Clarion. And Coach, the calendar once again turns over, and it's a big one this week. Beginning of the season or the beginning of the summer, the schedules comes out. This is historically a game that fans always circle. It's a Cal IUP game. It's a rivalry game, and it's once again like it has been for probably the last 25 years. There's a lot on the line.
It's the biggest game because it's the next one, right? No, they're doing an incredible job. Obviously, they got a great program, and I know the fans get excited about it. But for us, it's about our preparation, it's about our details, and it's about us playing good.
And IUP coming into this game ranked in the top 20, undefeated. They held serve this past weekend against Slippery Rock at home, and the crazy thing, not the result, but that game was played about an hour south, and they had, I think, 10 times worse weather than we did. So whatever you did to call ahead to Clarion, I mean, it was bad at times, but it wasn't that bad.
The older I get, the weather seems to affect me more. I wasn't happy with our weather at Clarion. I sure wouldn't have been happy with the weather they had up there in Indiana. But, yeah, it was interesting to watch. Two really, really good football teams, two well-coached football teams battling it out all day, and really came down to the end.
And as I ask every week, Coach, about the opponents, I know you've watched a ton of film, and we're Tuesday, you probably watched a ton of film the rest of the day after this and all week, but let's start on the offense. Offensively, we know IUP has a great receiver, but what else do they do?
They're good at everything. They got a big, experienced offensive line. They're a balanced offense, probably, more so than anybody we've played so far. They're running for, I think, 220 yards a game. They're throwing for 260 yards a game. I think they're averaging, my math skills aren't great right now, but like 570 a game. They got a really good tailback, and really got two tailbacks. One, gets more carries than the other, but the other one's a good change of pace back. He's averaging, I think, 150, 160 yards a game. So it all starts with them with their running game, and then they've got a returning All-American receiver that's doing an incredible job and has a great relationship with his quarterback. But they also got some other guys that can hurt you, so you really can't focus on him. They when they need a play, they go to him, but they spread the ball around as well. So really, really strong offense that's doing a really good job.
And we can probably say that ad nauseum because as good as they've been for forever, it's balance is going to win the day. But on the other side of the ball, there's a reason they're undefeated. What are they? What kind of schemes do they run, and what do they?
Yeah,
bring?
They do a nice job, probably different than most, of mixing up their coverages. They're a base four down front. They're really good up front. They got two really big kids inside at the tackles. They got two good pass rushers at the defensive end. I think probably their strength is their inside linebackers. They kind of remind me of our two guys. They work hard. They're smart. They're in right position. They don't miss tackles. They're really good, and they're athletic on the back end. They'll start in their four down front. They'll mix in some man coverage, some zone coverage, and roll the safeties a little bit. And so it's going to be a test. They've been running the same defense for years and years and years, and they do it really well. So they're stopping the run and they're defending the pass really well. They're really good at everything. So it's but the focus has got to be on us. We've got to take care of our business. We've got to, I said it a couple weeks ago. We've got to, assignment, alignment, and effort, and do our job, and we'll see what happens.
Now, Coach, you have an interesting, not viewpoint, but perspective on this rivalry. You played in this rivalry as a player. Let's talk about that. What is it like as a player to play in this rivalry?
Yeah, well, of course, when I was here, they had they got the better of us quite a bit. They were really good back in the early '90s when I was here. I think they went to a national championship game and did a good job. But it's special, and I say it every week and every year, to play in the PSAC. Well, our guys are friends with a lot of their guys. We know their coaching staff. We recruit the same circles and the same players. It's just really good for college football. And I say it every year, but West Virginia in the Big 12 and Pitt in the ACC playing Georgia Tech. There's no rivalries left in really Division I football. In Division II, every week you're lining up against people that you know, and I think that's what makes it special. And obviously this rivalry, our fans get into it, our students get into it. We need our students here this weekend. We've done a great job of having great home crowds, but we need our students and we need the help. I know our marching band will be there. I spoke with one of the cheerleaders this morning. It's just fun for college football.
Well, it's a big game. It's a rivalry game, and I know nobody ever likes to look at standings, but we'll look at the standings for just a second. I'll talk about them. There are three teams that are undefeated in the PSAC West right now. It's Cal, IUP, and Gannon. And then in the East, Shepherd's the only undefeated team. So we're getting to that part of the year. The page is turning. We're firmly in the middle, getting ready to turn to the second half of the year. So rivalry games and week to week aside, what's it like trying to keep your team on task? Because they've been locked in for about 2.5 months now. That's
crazy.
A long time.
When we started the
to do
show,
anything.
You said October 4th, I think, and I was like, "There's no way it's October." It feels like we got here yesterday, and I think that's partly the group we have. you know, they show up to work every day. They show up to meetings. I've been really pleased with the effort. Just met with the coaching staff this week about, you know, this is about the time of year you try and start cutting practice back a little bit, because obviously it is a physical game, and you try and save bodies. But our guys haven't blinked. You know, we conditioned last night at practice, and there wasn't a word about it. You know, it's okay. We condition on Mondays. Let's line up. Let's go to work, and let's work to be deserving this week against IUP. So, you know, it's good. But, you know, October, I mean, this is the time of the year where you know, it's time. And I talk to our guys about continuing to grow. Good football teams continue to grow every week, and don't get in a rut of, okay, we're just going to do a Monday practice. We're just going to do a Tuesday practice. They continue to work and grow together to improve, and our guys have done that so far.
Well, and I bet if you look back at the first game, the other Fairmont game, you look film of that game and the film this past weekend, it's probably hard to recognize. I mean, you recognize it because of your team, but just the growth from, you know, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we dropped a couple really close games on the road, and I think, you know, give those teams credit, but a lot of that was mistakes that we made. And if we can continue to grow and develop and limit those mistakes, then obviously we're going to be a better football team, and I've seen that the last 3 weeks.
And this weekend, make sure you're there in red and black at Adamson Stadium. Game starts at noon. Get to the parking lot around 10:30. 10 o'clock is perfect. Get the boards out, grill some hot dogs, give some to me and Coach as we walk in on our different times. But Vulcan Nation, you know, Coach and the team need you to really pack that place, make it a home atmosphere. It's a very special place to be. Like I said, at noon on Saturday in the autumn. Weather right now looks very good. So come on out and cheer on the Vulcans. And if you can't make it, CTV will have you covered on CTV Sports 1 and the PSAC network. But right before we go, since I made the graphics coach, we're going to look
put them up there.
All around the PSAC. Well, first we're going to look at the, just put a bow on this past weekend. We have the scoreboards here. Rest of the West scores: Gannon over Seton Hill 21-10. Edinburgh and a squeaker over Mercyhurst 16-13. And in the game, IUP Slippery Rock 20-12. And then over in the East, Millersville 42, Lock Haven 12. Shepherd gets by Shippensburg 30-13. Kutztown over East Stroudsburg 24-20. Then Bloomsburg winning at home versus Westchester 21-16. And once again, as we move on to this coming week's schedule, we're in divisional play. The big game, IUP Cal, this Saturday at noon. And then Gannon, Edinburgh, Clarion going to Seton Hill, and then Mercyhurst at Slippery Rock at a 6 o'clock kick. And then over in the East, Bloomsburg, Kutztown, East Stroudsburg's Millersville, Lock Haven, Shepherd, and Shippensburg, Westchester. And Coach, we usually ask at this time another game to watch, but there is only one game this week.
That's what you're saying. You're not even going to ask this week.
It's the Cal IUP game. It's everywhere in the conference. So, like I said, come support the team. It's going to be a beautiful day. And like I said, Coach, even on the road this past weekend, the support has been there, but we just need a little bit more.
A little more.
Just a little more.
A little more. We got to get our students to the game. You know, stay this weekend. You had fall break last weekend. Yep. You were off on Friday, so I'm guessing your parents are sick of you being at home. They sent you to college for a reason. They want you to stay at college. So come up to Adamson Stadium, tailgate. Let's get after it at 12 o'clock on Saturday. So
for Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you Saturday at Adamson Stadium. You're watching The Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.